Hi, entrepreneurs. I thought today I'm going to cover the topic of achieving profitability. But I also realized that as we're building our businesses, sometimes we get too attached to the products that we have developed because we believe it in so much that we end up not able to step out of it and then be able to let it go because of the emotional attachment on the product. So I will start on that for today. Within that, we will cover a few topics. We will make sure that in the items that we're covering, we're dealing with the real problems that as entrepreneurs, we struggle to actually get profitability. But also, I will make sure that this topic is embedded on a clear action plan of the things that you can put in place to build up your business, but also just to make sure that you are clear where to start to try to turn around your business when it has not been profitable. Please note, this content is part of module 15 within on how to manage or how to build up financial performance. Okay, entrepreneurs, let's start. So I think achieving profitability, we just need to be clear of how this really works. One, I assume that you've already done the understanding of financial performance, but if you have not, I will just show you in a few minutes what does that mean in terms of profitability. So profitability is basically under income statement, which is financial performance. Income statement under financial performance, where we look at how much income you got, and we also look at the expenditure. So to achieve profitability, you will need to say income less expensive. That will give you profitability or loss. It gives you profitability if the income is higher than the expenditure. So the best way of actually really getting to look at your profitability is not just looking at what's happening on the net effect, is to look at what are the components that make up the profitability. And this is what we call income statement on the financial statement. Then we'll go back to our presentation. So now you understand just in a few seconds on how to actually achieve profitability is to keep your income to be higher than what you actually spend. Full stop. That's profitability. So what we have identified is why generally small business struggle to actually achieve profitability, even when you see in other instances revenue actually increasing. The main thing that we have picked up within entrepreneurs is that they will have a high operational expenditures, where the real root cause of why their operational expenses are high is because their economies of scale have not actually improved to make sure that they utilize all their operational expenses. Number two, they generally compete on the price rather than the positioning. Number three, not clear on the real target customer. And I think this is the real one of the major contributor in here. Most entrepreneurs do not have a clear customer profile. Number four, they actually spread themselves too thin and they do not focus on doing one thing and therefore be known in the market for doing that one thing. Number five, they just totally ignore the numbers. They ignore the numbers, and where they do have the numbers, they're not using the numbers to actually tell them what to do, what's the next decision to make. So What does that mean now? What does it take then to achieve profitability, and what are the fundamentals that you can actually put in place? So as I had said earlier, achieving profitability is a very clear principle. You're gonna need to increase your revenue and decrease your expenditures, or decrease the expenditure, leave the revenue as it is. So you can do both. You can either increase the revenue or decrease your expenditure, or do both. Now, as I explained earlier, that when it comes to financial statements, we're dealing with the income statement when we're talking about profitability. We're saying that the revenue is made of price multiplied by the number of units, which is the volume of what you actually spend, of what your customers are actually buying from you. Now, how do you increase profitability? You increase profitability by increasing the price or increasing the volume of what you're selling. Or again, you can do both. When you increase the selling price, you have to make sure that you focus on the results that you are actually selling, the benefit to the customer. Don't just sell the price, focus on the value. Make sure also that the position of the product and the packaging talks to the target market, whether it's a high end or it's for a specific. Don't try to actually be everyone, to try to get everyone to be a customer, rather focus on a specific niche. And the other things that you can do in increasing your volume, we really need to focus on the bulk customers, because that is where the economies of scale also is going to assist. Focus also on increasing the market share. And I think that also talks to why most entrepreneurs just struggle to build up they spread themselves too thin. They don't aim to own a bigger market share in the market on that specific product. They try to design or develop additional more solution than focusing on just one solution. Work on building capacity to produce and save more on that specific product. Execute a very clear customer retention strategy, because what you want to do is that once you've found that customers, to make sure you retain that customer, so that you will not need to have an acquisition cost, but also build up and make sure that you are consistent. You are building up processes and system to make sure that the customers that are high value, they get to a high volume, and high values are the ones that get prioritized, but also they get the right service. Now, what are the things that you need to do also within your income? One is to actually identify the best sellers that are profitable. So it's not just to identify the best sellers, but you have to identify the best sellers that are profitable, which means you've got to need to know what's the gross profit margin for each of your products. Figure out within those top number, whatever number it is, of the profitable bestsellers, what is the trend? What does that trend tell you? What does it mean in terms of the buying patterns? What does it mean also in terms of your demand focus, your ability to promote, and also building up to your marketing plan and promotional activities? Once you have done that analysis of identifying the best sellers with a high gross profit margin or that are profitable, you've got to need to dump products that are not profitable. You've got to need to dump services that are not making the mark, especially in your average margins. Now, there are products that you may decide to continue with, which may not necessarily be profitable when those products provide you with a better positioning. So in my business, for example, books do not generally make a lot of money. But we have used the book as a positioning as ourselves as experts in the market. So that does actually assist. So you're gonna need to analyze what value that product have, and why is that value better than doing other things, and what's the return in the long term. So for us, while the book does not make it make a lot of money, it allows us to position, but it also have a passive income over a period of time. We're planning to actually make sure that we continue selling it, and it's not therefore a product that you will just sell once off. It's a product that you're going to consistently sell it. Because it's already an asset, then it will bring up the revenues, which we call passive revenue. In this case, would be royalties that we get when we sell the book. Step number 4, you've got to need to make sure that you focus on customers that are returning customers, i.e., being in business is not generally about just customer acquisition, but it's about retention of the customer. It's about making sure that we are repeating the same processes over until we are efficient and effective on how you deliver that product or service. Step number 5, you're gonna need to get ready, prepare for the relaunch. Once you have decided on which products are the best, you're gonna need to rework your positioning, your marketing material, and making sure that the price and the time that you're offering these products and services is to the right customer. Really look also on decreasing your expenditures. Be very clear where your expenses going and how much of that. Get to the top 5 expenses so that it enables you to also see and analyze if you really need those. Make sure when you're going through your top 5 expenses, we are using a principle which is called a matching principle, where you look at how much revenue did you get and what's the related cost or expenditure that came through, so that you can see if there are expenditures that you're incurring, but they're not generating any return or improving the value of the asset. You also need to build up and be brave. You gotta need to actually cut out what you really don't need. And this is difficult because some things we are also even attached because we routinely are doing. So it's also really looking at understanding that by you cutting, it's gonna actually give you in the long term a better return on investment. Look also again on the asset, analyze the resources utilization. Just make sure that you really are using assets to the maximum capacity. It's effective, it's efficient, and it's also economical. I hope entrepreneurs, you are clear of what are the things you're going to do to work on your profitability, but how to actually figure out things and where to look at the numbers and which numbers should make sense. As far as different profitability margins in each industry, and also understanding the net profit that your business should be obtaining, that I cannot decide for you. You're gonna need to get to understand your industry enough to know what is a reasonable gross profit margin, but also what is realistic net profit based on the size of the organization you run, but also look at your operational expenditures and see which areas, because at the end of the day, you're the one who makes the decisions. So please share your experiences. I will leave this presentation on this link below. Have a look and see, and let me know what you have picked up. Thank you so much. Next time, bye.